Hi, I'm Jessica G, and this is the Just in Time podcast. If you're struggling today, I want you to know this podcast is here for you, but it's not a substitute for professional help. If you're in a crisis or feel unsafe, please call or text 988 or dial 911 for immediate support. There are people out there who will listen and can help. On this show, I'll be sharing personal experiences, mindset shifts, talking with key experts, and sharing real tools that help me go from barely surviving to thriving. This is not about quick fixes or one-size-fits-all advice. It's raw, it's honest, it's what worked for me and what I believe can help others too. Let's walk together from darkness to hope. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning back in. This is Just in Time podcast, and we are excited that Jacqueline Sharp has joined the show once again. She's the area director for AFSP, and we are so happy to have you here, Jacqueline.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here again.
Awesome. Today, we're going to be talking about postpartum depression and suicide, signs to look for, and really, I believe Jacqueline is going to share a little bit about her lived experience and going to talk about awareness, triggers, early recognition, and just dive right in.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to be here. This is my passion project. When I started with AFSP 4 years ago, I just was swimming. And after the first year, I was able to go, okay, now I can start talking about my story and sharing my lived experience around that. And the more I did, what I noticed was we had more and more women that would come up to me afterwards and say, same.
Mm-hmm.
Same. I've just never talked about it out loud. And so I'm grateful that you've asked me to come and have this conversation, because I think this is a very silent epidemic that's happening in the United States.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I'm seeing more and more people are willing to talk about it, and platforms want people to come on to talk. So thank you so much.
No, I just remember when I first met you, I knew nothing really about postpartum. It's just something you kind of hear about, but like you said, women don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you kind of sharing, we were talking about my whole thing was like neuroplasticity and using the power of neuroplasticity to fight suicide. And you were like, I want AFSP to build a program around postpartum.
Yeah.
And so I got really excited about that because, mental health is complex, and every tiny little avenue or opening that, we can talk about to create change and bring awareness and break the stigma.
Right.
And just start that conversation is just one step towards healing and one step towards better success.
Yeah, I agree.
With our mental health. So,
absolutely.
Can you start off by explaining what postpartum depression is and how it differs from the baby blues that many women experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to say too up front, you're going to get dual sides in this episode of Jacqueline, who has lived experience in postpartum, and I'm going to share my experience, and that's mostly where my expertise comes from in this. For the last 4 years, I've been advocating for AFSP to put a more focused effort into maternal mental health and postpartum. And we've seen some movement for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't have necessarily a main presentation.
Right.
We have pieces, so that's good. There's definitely been forward movement. But a lot of the statistics, the information I'm going to be sharing is from the Mayo Clinic, maternal mental health, National Maternal Mental Health website, and their Lifeline. That's what we'll talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
So that needs to be said. So you're going to have kind of the dual things. But according to the Mayo Clinic, here are the differences. So baby blues is something that you hear often.
Mm-hmm.
And to be frank, when I was in the throes of postpartum and in the throes of really struggling with suicide, that's what was said to me. It's just baby blues.
Right.
And baby blues, here's the differences. So baby blues are defined as it's only a few days to a week after you've had a baby. Mm-hmm. So it's a very short time frame. And the symptoms include mood swings, anxiety, sadness, irritability, feeling overwhelmed, crying, reduced concentration. You can have appetite problems, and you can have trouble sleeping. And when I wrote this up, I kind of giggled because trouble sleeping is just part of postpartum. You have a brand new baby that doesn't know, night and day regulation. They don't know sleep, and they have to get up every 2 hours to eat. So trouble sleeping just kind of comes with that.
Right.
But so remember that baby blues it's a short time span.
Okay.
And then what Mayo Clinic says about postpartum is it's more intense. It lasts longer. It interferes with your ability to care for yourself and your baby.
Okay.
So those are, I think, the big things that need to be, and it can last for up to a year after giving birth. So that's important. The symptoms that they list are depressed mood or severe mood swings, crying too much. I often hear when I talk to women, they're like, I couldn't stop crying. I was crying over everything.
Right.
And that's a really important sign to pay attention to. Bonding with baby issues. So this is fascinating. When I started sharing about my postpartum struggles, I was in a training and I had someone share with me that they had found out through their grandmother that their own mother had struggled. And for the first 2 months after they were born, she could not hold her baby. She was in bed and could not hold her baby for 2 months because she had these bonding issues and was just in the throes of postpartum depression. Now, at the time, they didn't know what that was.
Right. Well, and I just want to jump in here really quick because that brings something to mind. Hearing that would, I feel like, bring on so much judgment from the outside world.
100%.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why people don't talk about it.
Correct.
Because they're like, what's wrong with you? You have a new baby. What, you know what I mean? Instead of treating it as a mental illness at the time.
Correct. That's exactly right. And I think that's why it's, as I called it, a silent epidemic.
Right.
Is because, suicide's stigmatized enough. And then when you add maternal mental health and suicide around maternity and having a baby postpartum, there's a whole nother layer of stigma.
Right.
Because people are like, well, you should be so happy. This should be the happiest moment of your whole life. And that's what I heard in my own experience. And then what I did was I internalized, because I'm a perfectionist, and I internalized, and the next thing I had was, what is wrong with me?
Right.
What's wrong with me? And so that's definitely an important piece to call out.
Yeah.
As there's this double layer of stigma to it. But the bonding with baby issues is very real. It's a very real thing that women can experience. Withdrawing from family and friends. And what you're going to hear with these signs is this is a lot of the same stuff we talk about in just suicide prevention within the community as well. Loss of appetite, or you're eating too much, inability to sleep or sleeping too much. Again, I giggled at that one. Loss of energy, where it's feels overwhelming.
Fatigue.
Intense irritability. Fear you aren't a good mom. This was 100% something that I experienced. Hopelessness, shame, guilt, inadequacy, worthlessness. That was a big. And the shame and guilt, that is, I think, what keeps active mothers that are in postpartum, and they're in that
From reaching out
and
getting help.
Correct.
Yeah, I could see that. That would be hard, especially if you think about mother-in-laws and all the people that are around you after you give birth. I mean, I haven't, but I can just imagine the pressure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think having a really good partner would be key in this, and making sure your partner is, reading about postpartum and educating themselves, because that's the person that's probably going to pull you out.
Correct. And I think women just knowing, if I could go back and talk to myself, I'd be much kinder to the Jacqueline before I had my first child. But I would also educate myself. I think that's one of the steps to help preventing it, is just education that it is a thing that can happen. You can prepare all day long, but until you get to that moment and you have that baby, you actually don't know how your body's going to respond. And there's several factors that play into that. Yeah. But just having a general awareness and knowledge of it, I think, is so critical. And I didn't going into it. I had this la-di-di-da, it's going to be perfect. I even was like, here's my birth plan, and it's going to go exactly to, and it didn't at all.
Can I
think
ask
that's
you a
perfect.
really personal question?
Sure, please.
Did you struggle with thoughts of suicide during your postpartum?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And
Had you ever struggled previously?
I never struggled with thoughts of suicide.
So that was your first time
the
struggling.
first time.
So that's important, I think,
It is important.
make note of for people.
I have a history of anxiety and depression. When I was 16, I went to my parents and said, I don't know what's wrong, but something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I started therapy and medicine when I was 16. And so I'm familiar with those things.
Yeah.
But not once did I think, oh, I probably should have this conversation with, because at the time when I went in, I was not on medicine. I had stopped taking medicine. And so there weren't any conversations about that. And that,
Right.
I'll get to more of that in my second pregnancy and what I feel like was the difference maker for me personally. But I wasn't on anything. And so in my head, I was just like, oh, this, I didn't even think, hey, you have a history with anxiety.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
you should be preparing for what that looks like in the post side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. And I think for even people, I mean, I could just talk about myself here for a second.
Yeah.
It's like, at a young age, I struggled with thoughts of suicide. And okay, one day if I have a kid and I'm going through postpartum, that's like a big fear for me. It's like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And so I think for those that have struggled, with those thoughts, that paying attention, educating yourself, talking to your doctor, talking to a therapist, seeing what medications might be right.
Yes.
Could really help.
Yes. Yes.
And I think, because that is terrifying just for me alone, to think about. What are your thoughts on miscarriages and women that say they lose 3 months in, 4 months in, 5 months in? Do you think the postpartum, the hormonal drop is as extreme, or would you say like look for the same signs? Because I think that also goes under like overlooked.
Oh, it absolutely does.
Because then people are struggling with a loss, but then they also have the hormonal drop.
Correct.
And then there's like a whole other guilt and weirdness around that. And I found that women don't talk about it.
No, we don't talk about it
at all. I was so surprised. I mean, I work in a hair salon.
Right.
And women talk about everything.
Right.
Like literally everything. And I had a miscarriage at the beginning of the year. And I found myself kind of being quiet, and I'm kind of like very talkative and very open person. But I had started talking about it. And what I found in my chair was that women wanted to talk about it. They liked to talk about it, but there's not like a space really for women to talk about it. And then the depression that led to, and I've seen, ups and downs. I had a lady come in the other day. She's like, okay, I want to cut bangs. I want to cut my hair here. And I want to dye it black. And I was like, what's going on? Like, are you okay?
Let's pause and talk about your life.
Do we need therapy? And she had gone through a miscarriage. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, we're not cutting your hair.
Yeah. You're like, we're
like, let's talk about this later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you're just not even in your right mind. And it was an early loss for her too. So it's like, mental health, this is so complex.
So I'll share with you, I had a miscarriage.
Yep.
But it was early in my husband and I's marriage. We were not trying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a crucial thing to absolutely talk about as part of this maternal mental health spectrum. It was heartbreaking, but also it was one of those things where I was grateful, which sounds weird, because we were in a place where we couldn't afford to take care of a child. There was no way. There was no way. So I had this like guilt and shame and all the like stuff that kind of goes with that. And you're mourning a loss, right?
Yeah.
Skip forward to, okay, we're ready to start a family. So we're going to start trying. I did not know that on average, it takes a woman about 1.5 years on average to get pregnant.
Wow.
Nobody tells you that.
No.
Nobody says that to you.
No.
Now, when I have friends that are like, I'm trying to get pregnant, that's the first thing I'll say is,
start now.
it takes about 1.5 years to get pregnant on average. And I think that's important for women to know because this was my experience. So it took us about a year for me to get pregnant with our son. And in that year, we would try, and then I would not be pregnant, and I would cry. And then we try again, and I wouldn't be pregnant, and I would cry. And I did that back and forth every single month, the same thing. It got worse as I was going through because I was like, oh my gosh, is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with him? Like, it's this whole like quiet thing that you're dealing with of like, what's going on? Am I broken?
Right.
Had I known that it takes on average 1.5 years, I'd have been so much nicer to myself.
Yeah. It just goes back to educating ourselves and reading and like the knowledge is out there and just seeking and finding it and not being afraid to reach out. I mean, these days you can ask ChatGPT anything.
Oh, yeah. That's true. This is true. But I will tell you, like, I think being willing to be the person that opens up and says, this is what's going on, that's helping to change the narrative and opening it up.
100%.
Now, as far as do I think it's on the same level? I think it's a spectrum, right? And I often talk about postpartum depression and how women, their bodies react after having a baby. It's all on a spectrum.
You
could have nothing.
Right.
It could be absolutely nothing. Or it could be, my experience or even where I've seen worse, where we are in a huge fight and battle for our mind and our baby and our health and all of those things.
Yeah.
Just like when you get pregnant, your symptoms that you can have are on a spectrum.
Yeah.
You can have nothing, or you can be like Amy Schumer, who was literally vomiting every day for 9 months. It could be all of those things. So I think it's on a spectrum, and I think more people need to talk about miscarrying.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really shocked. I was like, gosh, I've been doing hair for 20 years. And like, I was like, nobody ever hardly would tell me. I mean, here and there, but they're like, oh yeah, I had 5. I had 20.
Correct.
I'm like, what?
And it's like, it's so common. And that's when I talk about it, that's not, people are like, oh yeah, I had like 5 before we had. So
yeah. And it makes you feel like you're not alone. There's nothing wrong. And like, I have a really great doctor right now. And he was like, look, it was just probably not a great egg. You're healthy. There's nothing wrong with you.
Correct.
Like, life just has a way of ridding itself. And then, so something great can form and something more perfect. Like the egg has to be perfect, he said.
Correct.
And,
correct. And that's, I will say this, and there's a little levity in this conversation.
Just circle of life kind of thing.
It did make me question how one night stand babies happen. Honestly. Like how? But it is
because if you actually think about it, it's like very rare to kind of get pregnant.
Rare in that moment.
This has to be here. This has to be there. And I'm like, what?
Yes. So if you're a one night stand baby, you are very rare in this world.
Yes, you're a miracle child. It was just meant to. You were just meant to be here.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's funny. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about triggers. What are some of the main risk factors that might increase a woman's likelihood of developing postpartum depression?
So, again, Mayo Clinic, not mine, specific. So, what the Mayo Clinic had to say was that triggers can often be genetics.
Oh, okay.
So there can be some links to family history.
See, that's what scares me the most.
But now listen, I'll say this to you, but also anyone else who's had lived experience with suicide. We know in our suicide research that even if you have attempted previously, that does not mean that you are going to die by suicide.
Right.
The other thing that needs to be said is you are educating yourself,
right,
and those around you. So the second you start feeling those things, and even me, uneducated me, I have a clear moment in my head of the night that I had suicidal thinking and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's clear in my brain. And I don't think I'll ever be able to remove the images, what was happening, what I was doing from my head. But even then, I remember having those thoughts and going, I'm not okay.
Right.
Something is wrong.
Mm-hmm. Because in that moment, you can't really access that part of your
Correct.
brain.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And that's why you needed time.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it was this days, weeks, of me kind of reaching out for help, but not really. Like I was asking the people I was close to, have you ever experienced this? Like, what have you done? Like trying to gauge.
Yeah.
Is this me?
Yeah.
Am I the only one who feels this way? And what I got back was kind of fascinating because it was a mixture of it's baby blues. It's just baby blues. Everybody experiences baby blues. Get outside, do this, do that. And I implemented some of those strategies.
And you're like, okay.
And they helped.
Coping mechanisms.
Coping mechanisms. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But what actually helped me.
But there's something deeper going on.
Correct. What actually helped me, and this is, she still to this day, I don't think knows that she was what really caught me. It was about probably 6 months after I'd given birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been struggling for probably about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at an event, and I had my baby with me and my husband was holding a baby, and I was standing next to a woman that I served on a board with for another nonprofit. And without saying anything, she said, I hated the newborn phase. And I whipped my head around so fast and I said, what did you just say? And she was an older woman. And what I was getting from older women was that rhetoric of, aren't you so happy?
Mm-hmm.
You have a baby. You should be so happy.
Right.
I would give anything to be back in that. And I get that now. Being out of it, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. But I said, I'm sorry, what did you just say? And she said, oh, I hated the newborn phase. She was like, but after, 7, 8 months, every phase after was my favorite.
Aw. She was probably struggling with postpartum.
And it was this moment of like, oh my gosh.
I'm have postpartum depression.
I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Other people experience this
Mm-hmm.
because I hated the newborn phase.
Wow.
But what I didn't recognize then, and what my second pregnancy and what I did to help myself in that second pregnancy was like, I needed help.
Yeah.
I needed to have, for me, I needed to be on medicine.
Yeah, I think, I remember you telling me that your first pregnancy you didn't. And then after.
So second pregnancy.
You started medicine after delivery?
So I was on medicine before.
Mm-hmm.
And actually PCP said, you got to get off, which is not true. Talk to your OBGYN. He'll tell you whether or not you need to get off because it just depends on dosage and what you're on. Okay. That's important to say out loud. These are all important conversations to have with your OBGYN. But we were in post-op and I said, hey, doc, I struggle with postpartum and suicide. I'm worried for myself. Mm-hmm. What can I do?
Was this after you?
Literally after I got out of the OR, I'm in the post-op room.
Okay.
Holding my daughter.
And this is when you say
this is what I say to her.
Yes.
Because she comes in for like the checkup.
Because you're like, I don't want to go through another 7 months of hell.
I don't.
Yeah.
And she said, well, what dosage are you on? I said, 25 milligrams. And she said, girl, that's licking it. And I laughed and I go, what? And she laughed at herself and she said, I'm sorry. That dosage is about the same as if you took the pill and licked it. She said, let's up your dosage.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And we did. And it makes me sad. But it also, I'm so grateful because my postpartum, like my time with my daughter was a night and day difference. Mm-hmm. Because I had the courage to say that to my OBGYN.
Right.
And because I was taking care of myself, I knew the things to like, okay, when these thoughts start coming in my mind, I was crying all the time with Bennett. I would look at him and cry and be like, I'm sorry, I can't be a better mom to you.
Right.
I felt so much shame and guilt. And I think some of it too is, I brought in that perfectionist piece.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a high achieving person.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. And we have this campaign in AFSP, and it's check on your strong friends.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I think, one of the things that with maternal mental health is so critical.
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes when women are these strong, powerful, get stuff done women,
Mm-hmm.
we think they're fine.
Right.
And when they say they're fine, which is what I was doing, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's
Everything's fine.
I'm fine.
Everything's fine.
We take that
Yeah.
for what it is. And we don't try to examine further.
Yeah.
And so for me, looking at the differences, it was such a stark contrast between my son's, post and my daughter's.
Yeah.
I enjoy the newborn phase with her. And so I think those are critical things to kind of pay attention to, genetics, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Other triggers.
Yes.
And other things that can cause.
Yes.
So physical changes. So, that was one thing also that I don't know why it took me a year and a half to feel like I was in my body again.
Really?
So there's this weird
I hear everybody say that. I hear everybody say that. It's so scary. I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's this weird experience you have where you go,
like your body's not your own.
Your body's not your own,
right?
And that's because your body is physically giving so much to this baby, to the creation of this baby, to the building of its foundation that it needs, right? And you give birth to this baby, and there's a huge drop in hormones,
right?
Testosterone and progesterone. So had I known that, I definitely think I would have given myself more grace of like, oh my gosh, yeah, girl, you took 9 months to create this baby, and you thought you were going to be back to normal in 2?
Yeah.
That's why that bounce back.
Oh, I hate that word. I hate that term.
It's literally horrible.
Oh, you'll bounce back. And I'm like,
we need to get rid of it.
Oh my gosh, I hate that word. I think it's like, I think I heard my grandparents say it and my mom say it. And it was like a word from their era.
Yes.
And I'm like, not everybody, can just do that like you did.
Correct.
Like everyone has their own journey.
Correct. And bodies are built differently and all those things.
Yes.
It's not fair. It's a very unfair term to women, especially postpartum women. And but you have this 9 months of creating life, and I put it in my head, at least with my son, that I would bounce back immediately.
Because it puts like this pressure on you that if you don't bounce back, there's something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you. So you're dealing with what's wrong with me that I can't stop crying? What's wrong with me that I'm not happy because I've just had this baby? What's wrong with me that I'm not rail thin?
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
And I also struggle with breastfeeding, which can also add
more guilt.
It was so much guilt of like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I mean, I remember, which we'll talk about this a little bit more about, what are some of the gaps in care here? And there are gaps in our care, 110%.
Yeah.
I remember being in the pediatrician's office and being like, they had a breast consultant come in and a breastfeeding consultant come in and talk to me about breastfeeding. And she, trying to breastfeed my son.
Yeah.
And he just takes both hands, grabs my boob, and just shoves it.
He's like, no.
I laughed so hard that my husband came around the corner. He goes, what is wrong? And I said, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why am I forcing this so hard?
Yeah.
It's clearly not working for us. Why am I doing this to myself? And we started formula.
Yeah. I was a formula baby and
look at me. Huge. Yeah. I mean, it was a 9-day difference. And that, that's something that our pediatrician now has said. And again, in my second delivery, he said,
did you breastfeed the first time?
I breastfed for 6 weeks the first time because I forced myself.
Okay.
Forced it. Because I was pumping also.
Yeah.
To try to make it work. And the contraptions that the hospital put me on was wild. When I tell people what they had us do when we left, a lot of people are like, Why would you do that? And I was like, because I thought that's what was the best thing. And it had to be that. It had to be that.
Everything that I read right now about like pregnancy and like even like birth positions, like,
oh, yeah.
I hear like laying on your back is one of the worst positions. Yeah. And there's like, don't rub the vernix off.
Right.
Wait till the umbilical cord turns white. And so the baby can get all the blood and then let your husband cut it. And then like, what else is there? Oh, the vaccines, like your baby doesn't need hepatitis. I'm like bombarded with so much information, about pregnancy and giving birth and all this. And it's like, I can see where there's so much pressure and like pull. And I feel like
what do you
at the end of the day, you just kind of have to educate yourself on everything. Like literally everything. And then you and your partner just make the best decision that you think is possible and you just roll with it.
You roll with it.
Right?
Exactly right. Yeah. I mean,
because my goodness, you can't make, everyone's going to disagree with something.
Correct. So and I think that's that other level of guilt that comes in with postpartum and just like that kind of, there's so much that you have to figure out.
Well, and also
you don't know. And,
and then like, I know some of, pregnant women that I know, their husbands are like, so like, you need to breastfeed. This is the best for the baby. This is best for the baby. And there's like a certain amount of pressure that even the husbands are putting on the wives. And it's like, they need to go to baby school, parenting.
Correct.
Like educate everything, mental health. Like, so it's like all inclusive because it's not just about, formula or not formula or so I feel like there's a lot of that out there too.
There is a lot of that out there, and that can add a lot of unnecessary pressure because again, you don't know. I mean, I've had friends that are like cows. They produce. It's insane.
Yeah, they're
jealous of it. They're
like
incredible.
Selling their milk online or donating
it's incredible.
Yeah.
And then there are like people like me
just
where
struggling.
If I got 4 milliliters, I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like it's all of those things. And that just
it's like a balance of like taking care of yourself, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then also your baby.
Yep. Oh, it's all those mix of things. And then thyroid hormones drop too, which can lead to like that sluggish feeling that you feel.
Yeah.
I had a birth plan. I think I mentioned this, and was convinced that it was going to go exactly like that. It did not. So I went in and they induced me. It was a Monday morning at 5 a.m. and I did not have our son until that Thursday morning.
Oh my gosh.
At 12.
Oh, wow.
a.m. So I labored for 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
And part of that was because my body wasn't ready.
Okay.
Right. So that was a big portion of it. And at the time I had an OBGYN that came in. She was hilarious. I loved her. And she just said, I don't know why we induced you. We should not have done this. And she wasn't my normal OBGYN. And she said, but we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying. And I got to a point, my heartbeat dropped. My son's heartbeat dropped. And I was right at 9 centimeters. And the team came in and she just looked at me and she said, it's not going to happen. I need to take this baby. We need to go to the OR. And
so C-section.
And again, my plan was this is how it's going to go.
Yeah.
I didn't even read about C-section, like truly educate myself.
Right. You're like, I don't want to.
Because I was like, that's not even a thought in my brain.
Maybe it's because you didn't.
I don't know.
It looks pretty scary to me.
I whipped my head around and I'll probably cry, but I whipped my head around and I looked at my husband. I said, I can't do this.
No.
And he said, you can do this. And all 3 of us are coming out of this hospital. And I said, okay.
You're going to make me cry.
And the minute we were like, okay, it probably took 5 minutes for us to get to the OR. They pull the baby out. Of course, my husband, y'all, he's the funniest, most amazing man, but he did not want to see any part of the C-section. And he's tall. So he's like crouching down next to me. And the OBGYN, she's an excellent surgeon. And she was like, oh my gosh, he has red hair. Do you want to see? And my husband's like, no, that's fine. It's fine. We'll see in a minute,
Okay.
And then we were in the hospital for about a week. We didn't leave until I say a week. We didn't leave until Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot. It was a lot. And, we had them early in the morning, and they get you up every 2 hours to feed and to so our clocks were all off. And, I had just been through a major surgery.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that I think it just gets passed over is the rhetoric of C-section's an easy way out. Absolutely not.
Right.
None of them are easy ways out.
Right. Yeah. I know it seems more intense
transaction
to me. I mean,
that is happening.
Like I said, I don't have experience in this, but it seems a lot more intense.
It's more intense. And now you are recovering from a
surgery and birth.
And now we have a baby.
And you can only pick up so many pounds.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Yep. If you have surgery, you actually cannot pick up. You're not supposed to pick up the car seat carrier. Yeah. I think all that kind of plays into it as well. And
do you think they push C-sections in a lot more now? I asked that question because I have this overall general feeling. I have no evidence or anything like that other than just things that I hear.
So I have no statistical background of this information. That needs to be said out loud. So people, please fact check me, and you can look this up yourself. But I do think at one point I heard that Northwest Arkansas has a very high rate of C-sections.
Okay.
Very, very high rate.
I have a feeling that, we'll have to fact check that.
Pushing you, I don't know. Because, and I say this to people all the time, I grew up as a daughter of a physician who was trained that just because a physician is saying that does not mean that that's the end all be all.
Right.
It's your body. You know your body. And so when I went to my second one, I was like, I'm going to do VBAC.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And my doctor and I came to that agreement. We were like, okay, great. Let's do VBAC. It's going to happen.
But then emergency situations, that's what you had to do.
Well, but my second one, we got closer to time, and my OBGYN said, hey, you're not dilated. You should be. We should already be seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, you're negative, which I don't even know what that means. To this day, I still don't know what that means. Was I just sucking it back up? I don't know what's happening.
It's not happening. We're not coming out today.
I like to joke that I made too good of a home for my doggies. But he said, listen, we can try.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can move your date up. And because they put a C-section date out for me. But I was like, be back, it's happening.
Did you deliver at 40 weeks?
I delivered at 39 weeks, I think, with her. I was right at. And I was in the OR because we went ahead and moved it up. I was in the OR and I was pissed. Sitting in the OR, prepped, ready to go. I was like, I was going to VBAC.
Mm-hmm.
And they get her out. And my OBGYN said, oh my gosh. And I was like, of course, that's what you want to hear when you're on an OR, right. And they're doing surgery on you. She goes,
you're like, what?
So glad we did the C-section.
Why?
My daughter had wrapped her umbilical cord around her neck twice.
Oh my gosh.
And she had literally pretzeled the umbilical cord. And my OBGYN pulls it up and she goes, I've only seen this twice in my 20 years of doing this.
Wow.
And so it was one of those moments of like, okay,
well,
I was supposed to do this.
Yeah.
This is what we were supposed to be in.
Yeah.
And she's safe and she's healthy and I'm safe and healthy and all the things. So I say all those things to assuage those fears.
Yeah.
Now, can I speak to, is it push? I think that's relevant to you.
Yeah.
What do you want? Communicate that.
Yeah.
And then also be willing to, one, educate yourself, be better than me, educate yourself on C-section. but also know that like your plan, yes, that's great. That's
But it
wonderful.
can change.
But it can change.
Yeah.
For the health of you and the health of the baby.
Yeah. Actually, one of my friends, she kind of told me a very similar story. She had her whole birth plan.
Yeah.
That's how she thought it was going to go. And she's like, well, I guess God had different plans for me. And she's got a beautiful, healthy boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Those
are good things.
Let's see. What else? Hope and recovery. For women listening who might be silently struggling right now, what would you want them to know?
So, I think an important thing for women listening who are in the throes of this is you're not alone. In fact, there are probably more women in your life that have struggled with this than you have any
And
idea.
reach out and talk to them.
Yeah, 100%.
Tell somebody.
Start talking to people.
Talk to your doctor.
Start talking. If you are a high achiever or perfectionist like me, it is okay to say and be vulnerable, I don't think I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It truly is okay to say that. And
it's a strength, it's a strength.
100% it's a strength.
And I think that it's even more important in these moments because you're not only caring for yourself, but you're caring for,
correct.
A baby.
This brand new baby, brand new, and it's a whole new life. I think give yourself the space.
Let the shame go.
Yes.
Let the guilt go.
Yes.
Just say, screw it.
Yes.
Be afraid for the mother-in-law to judge you.
Right.
Like,
that's another thing.
Whatever. Because I feel like the whole mother-in-law pressure is probably, I hear this through, working in a salon when we talk.
Yes.
I hear that. Well, my mother-in-law or my own mother, that everyone has all these ideas of how you should be, but who's actually listening to you?
Correct.
And what you need. Correct. And it's like, sometimes it's like your voice just gets, it sounds like their voice just gets muffled.
Yes.
And I think that for mothers, mother-in-laws, everybody out there, like to kind of keep that in mind. And like, what's the one thing I hear is like, when you first get to the hospital, don't go see the baby right away. Like, see the mom first and say, hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Like that's the best etiquette that you can have after, because everyone just wants to see the baby. But then like the mom's like, just there.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Correct. Which nowadays the baby is in the room with you all the time.
So, is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
There's no
That's
going into and there's no going into
You're not going to get mixed up in the nursing.
Now, unless you have like a situation where we need to go.
Right. Like the NICU or whatever. Yeah.
But no, I think talking about it, I think on the mother-in-law side, this is where the partner comes into play significantly. And if you don't have a partner, if you're a badass having a baby on your own, kudos to you.
Mm-hmm.
But also having a friend or some type of support that can be your, I guess, gate is the best way.
What was it, the thing that you said? Do you have 8 minutes or is it 7 minutes?
Yeah,
what
8 minutes.
Do you have 8 minutes?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. That can be your person.
Or you can say, or the person can say, do you need 8 minutes?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have 8 minutes or do you need 8 minutes?
8 minutes. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And that comes from a campaign we did of like, just really setting up those systems that if you're struggling to be able to say, hey, do you have 8 minutes?
It's kind of a code word for like, I'm struggling with suicide.
Yeah.
And or just struggling in pain.
Say out loud, like, I'm not okay.
Right.
So no, but I think the partner or the friend that can help gatekeep you and the baby.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is if mother-in-law is not respecting boundaries,
mm-hmm.
this is where the partner comes into play.
Right.
And needs to play that role.
Yep.
Has to play that role.
Yeah, like ask the mother first if it's okay for somebody to come into the room.
Correct.
Is what I was reading about this last night, turned to prep for this. But it was like, the mother is in a very vulnerable place. She's healing.
Correct.
She just went through like the biggest, hardest thing she'll ever go through. Her body has been pushed to the limits. And so making sure that every single person that enters that room, it's you've asked.
Yeah.
Are you ready? Is it okay? And and like, don't put any pressure, don't push, and just be super respectful is what I've read.
Yeah. And I wrote in here, take lead from mom.
Yeah.
Right. And what I would encourage women who maybe aren't in postpartum, but are pregnant and expecting is start communicating what you want during postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
clearly.
Way before.
Way before.
Yes.
These are going to be the boundaries. These are going to be, a lot of times.
Because that could give somebody a lot of anxiety if those things aren't in place. Like, I think I would freak out.
Yeah.
I
didn't have necessarily mother-in-law. Dan's mom passed, and I didn't have a mother-in-law that, came over. But, we were very clear. You're welcome to come and visit. Please.
From these hours.
All these things.
Yeah.
And then, I had people that were like, we want to do a meal train for you. So you kind of have to decide those things too, but just communicate that clearly in advance would be my 2 cents on that. But that's where partner comes into play, where we can kind of help gatekeep baby and mom, just because this is a really sensitive time. If you're recovering, there's it's all newness. Also, you're breastfeeding on demand.
Yeah. And I think some cultures do this 40-day thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Some cultures do 40 days of just them, and then
there's a really great book, and I cannot think of it right now, that I read when I was expecting our son, and it's written by a British woman. It's very good, but I giggled at her, and now being outside of all of it, and I actually did it, but she talks about walking into your home and walking your baby around and showing them the house like you would a new guest.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
He was like, and I remember laughing reading that, because when I was pregnant, because I was
this is
that's
the kitchen.
And I did it with I just walked him around, and I was like, this is the dining room, and and it just was one of those things where it was like, this is our moment to we're building this life with him.
Yeah.
So definitely do boundaries. I think if anyone's listening and they're in the throes of this, the other really important thing for you to know is, and a lot of people don't know this, there's actually a national maternal mental health hotline. It is 24/7. It's over 250 languages, and it is designed for anybody that is struggling with anything around postpartum. You're pregnant. There are some women that struggle with depression and suicide while they're pregnant. Any of that, breastfeeding.
What is this hotline?
So it's 1-800-TLC-MAMA.
1-800-TLC-MAMA.
And I did the lifting. So it's 1-800-852-6262.
Okay. And let me ask you a question. If somebody can't remember that in the moment, can they call 988 and get this number?
They can get this.
They'll connect them with that number?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So 988 is so easy to remember. And then if you want to repeat that one more time to our listeners.
1-800-TLC-MAMA. And it's great. And if you're a partner or a friend listening, go ahead and take that down. Put it in your phone.
If you're seeing signs of postpartum and you're worried, call that number, and they can help walk you through what to do, what the signs are, and refresh your memory. Because even myself being educated, when somebody comes up and says, hey, I'm struggling, I'm like, okay, what are the steps? And sometimes you get in this, fright mode, and you're like, I want to do everything right. And it's so nice to just have that number to call, be like, hold on one second. And it can kind of calmly walk you through it,
Yeah.
Because we all go through things, but we want to make sure that we're, doing our best to help other people that actually do reach out, because you may be the only person that they reach out to.
100%.
You may be their only lifeline.
100%.
So, and knowing what to do and calling those numbers, I think can be life or death sometimes for people. You just never know.
For sure. And I'll add to in my first pregnancy, some of the things that helped me kind of get out of the hole.
Yeah.
Is I akin it to when we shut down completely for the COVID pandemic, and everyone was isolated, and it was hard, because we as human beings, we need connection, right?
Yeah.
So you're kind of going through the same thing when you're in postpartum. It's very isolating. It's all the kind of risk factors that we talk about that can kind of combine to create this perfect storm. And so I started going, I made myself a schedule. I'm such a type A personality that I made myself a schedule every day, and it made me look forward
to the next thing.
And I matched it with my son's sleep schedule. So we got up in the morning, we went for a walk. I got outside.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't doing that. When
Okay.
I first got home, I was just kind of in the house.
Force yourself to get out.
I was just
and
here,
go.
but I was like, we got to get out and go.
Yeah.
I started forcing myself to plan moments throughout the week where I would go to Target or I would go get lunch with somebody and it's felt daunting because you pack all the things. There's a lot of stuff that comes with babies that you have to carry. And I was, early on I was like, why would I do that to myself? But I started forcing myself because I just realized I needed
interaction,
a moment to just interact, look at something else, engage with the world around me. And so I started putting those things on my calendar, which was so helpful for my brain to be like, okay.
And I feel like something that comes to mind too, if you can't get to that point even, invite somebody over and have coffee, have tea, and maybe have them help you get out of the house and pack that bag and go on that walk. Or just like phone a friend and be like, look, I need you to come over once a week and just help me take this next step because I don't want to fall in this hole. Making like a pact like that with somebody could make a huge difference. Because like what you're saying is great. And I think it shows a lot of strength that you could do that. But I know like when I was really struggling, like I didn't even have the strength to barely like let my dog out the door, So it's like, I feel it just reminded me of like, I probably should have invited somebody over to my house, but I was so embarrassed in that moment. I was like, my house is a mess. But I think just like getting over the fear of reaching out and just think, okay, I need help. So come over and help me.
Yes.
And just a trusted friend.
Yes.
Or someone.
I think you bring up a really good point. So I have this thing that I do. I've done it. I learned it from somebody, so it's not original. But I do this thing called pick 3 for lunch. So, or dinner, if I'm going to coffee with somebody, I'm like, pick 3 places and then I'll pick one.
Okay.
But my concept here is let's flip that. Pick one. So you're going to send to your friend, if you are a friend or a mother-in-law or, church member or neighbor, and you want to help your person who's just had a baby, send them 3 options of what you could or want to do and let them pick one. I think what happens is we want to help women that are in these periods of time, but we go, tell me what you need. And
they don't know what they need.
I don't know what I need.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We need somebody to just tell us what to do.
I need somebody to do laundry. I need somebody to do, it's like, it's all these things.
Yeah.
And make them like those things that you offer. Make them.
I think that's key too, is that sometimes people just don't have enough help.
Correct.
Enough community.
Correct.
Enough, women or other women around them.
Correct.
To help. I think, they say it takes a village, but I think there's something to that. So I think, just not being afraid to reach out, trying to build a community of women around you, or, maybe calling the hotline and saying, hey, is there like a local group? Support group that I could connect with because like I'm really struggling. Just something.
Yeah. Something is huge. I think for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, do you have anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Know that with appropriate treatment, 80% of women who struggle with postpartum recover.
Yeah.
So that's a really important thing to hear and know.
And you said too, like for you, it was like the first 7 months especially, and then you're able to dial it back down. I think like letting go of that fear. Is this medication going to affect the baby? Is it going to affect me? Did you take medication while you were pregnant?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. And your doctors are like, it's safe, it's okay, all the things. And I think that there's a stigma around taking medication also while you're pregnant.
There is.
And so
there's confusion.
And there's a lot of confusion, right?
In our healthcare providers, there was confusion because my PCP said, you need to get off that. You need to have a conversation with the OBGYN.
You're like, wait, can I take a Tylenol?
Yeah. When I talked to my OBGYN, she was like, no, you're fine. That's fine. You're fine. So, I mean, I think that's...
Well, and I think also, to your point, though, some people say different things.
They do.
I have heard that. One of my clients, she had one doctor said one thing, another doctor said the other thing. And so I think it's really finding the right doctor for you, making sure you connect with that person, and doing your research and not being afraid to ask all of the questions. Like, even if you think they're stupid, ask.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
And I think the last two things to end on, I think would be important to say is if you are someone who's already gone through postpartum and you had postpartum depression, don't be afraid to share it, but also share it in a way where we're talking about it as a spectrum.
Right.
We're not all going to experience the same thing, but because you did experience it, letting somebody know that I'm a safe person to have this conversation with, I'm willing to share mine. So if you need to share yours, please come to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I started talking about it openly and talking about being on medicine openly. And I actually had a close friend come to me and talk to me like, hey, I think I need to do this.
Yeah.
And we had that conversation. And it was all because I was willing to share it, but share it on a spectrum perspective.
Yeah.
This may not be how you experience it, but it was how I did.
Yeah. And again, like, even just on the show, it's like, we're not here to, we're not key experts and doctors and all of these things. We're here to share lived experience.
Right.
What worked for us may not work for you, So it's like, always talk to your healthcare provider, but we're here to help break the stigmas and just start that conversation and educate people on what we do know
for sure
around suicide. So thank you so much for being here, Jacqueline. I appreciate you. It's been the best.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, I hope that this helps. If you know somebody that's struggling, send them this podcast and tell them. We'll see you next time. If you're struggling, remember, how you think is how you feel. If your feelings feel heavy, start by shifting the thought. You're not stuck. Your brain can change. So can your story. I'm Jessica G. This is the Just in Time podcast, and I'll see you next time. Until then, keep going, never give up, and remember, the world is better with you in it, whether you believe it or not. To help reach others, please share this with your friends, family, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and donate.